the ultimate monster showdown. Godzilla vs. Doomsday. Doomsday is one of the most powerful villains in DC Comics, and when he comes to Earth, he wants to destroy it, which puts him at odds with the king of the monsters, Godzilla. So who would win in a fight between these two titans? Well, it's time to find out. Godzilla was always meant to be an allegory for nuclear war. Ever since his very first appearance in 1954, Godzilla has been a force for both good and destruction. Originally created by Toho Studios as a metaphor for the horrors of nuclear weapons, the character has grown to become much more than that over the years. He's a classic example of a tragic hero, a creature that causes massive destruction, but only does so because of outside forces. Godzilla's powers have grown quite a bit since his debut. Over the decades, the Toho series has kept up with changing technology and scientific understanding of the world, meaning that the king of the monsters has changed along with it. In the original film, Godzilla could walk through cities unscathed, while buildings collapsed all around him. This was later retconned, however, with the Showa era of Godzilla films establishing that while incredibly durable, Godzilla can actually feel pain and be injured. The Millennium series also expanded on this, showing that if enough damage is done to Godzilla, he will eventually succumb to his wounds. However, in the Reiwa era of Godzilla films, Godzilla is shown to have regenerated from fatal wounds. As such, Godzilla is now portrayed as being immortal. Godzilla's atomic breath has also changed in power over the years. Originally a simple ray of light, it's now one of the most powerful weapons in the monster's arsenal. Godzilla uses his atomic breath offensively and defensively, capable of obliterating just about anything that dares oppose him. If Godzilla is feeling generous, he can even use his atomic breath to heal others. Godzilla's strength has increased over time. He's strong enough to rip apart the fabric of space, and his fighting prowess is so great that he can defeat multiple enemies at once without breaking a sweat. Doomsday is one of the most brutal and ferocious monsters ever seen. He was brought into existence by the dark side of New Genesis to be its champion in a war against the new gods of Apocalypse. Made of Kryptonian and New Genesis DNA, Doomsday was engineered to be a killing machine. Unfortunately for Doomsday, his first action was to kill his own creator. Impelled by an unstoppable rage, Doomsday left New Genesis and set his sights on Earth. On Earth, Doomsday began destroying Metropolis, which immediately put him at odds with Superman. The two fought for days, destroying entire cities in the process. And when Superman thought he had finally defeated Doomsday, he came back to life, and the fight started all over again. It was until Superman used the combined heat vision of the entire Justice League that Doomsday was finally defeated. Doomsday didn't stay dead for long, though, returning once more to continue his rampage. This time, Doomsday went after Batman, who managed to defeat him using kryptonite. But even this didn't stop the rage monster, as Doomsday continued to rise even after being dissolved into a green sludge. Eventually, Batman realized that Doomsday would never truly die, unless he destroyed the source of his power, his own cells. Using a special device, Batman extracted Doomsday's cells and tore them apart at the molecular level. This time, it seems Doomsday was finally dead. There's no way to tell how strong Doomsday really is. We know he's extremely strong, durable, and incredibly dangerous, but how exactly does that translate into tangible feats? What we do know is that Doomsday was able to hold his own against Superman for days, and it took everything that Justice League had to put him down. Now, it's important to remember that not all versions of Superman are the same. The Pre-Crisis Superman was much stronger than the current version. However, even the current Superman is far more powerful than most people realize. Current Superman is capable of shattering planets and destroying entire solar systems. In fact, when the Spectre possessed Superman, he became so powerful that even the new gods were afraid of him. So it's clear that even if Doomsday was able to land a few hits on Superman, he wouldn't be able to take him down. Godzilla, on the other hand, is actually capable of destroying solar systems. In the Heisei series, Godzilla was given the ability to absorb energy from space itself. By harnessing this power, Godzilla could regenerate from almost any wound, and even became immune to most conventional weapons. This power also made Godzilla potentially immortal, and it's possible that even if Godzilla was somehow to lose a fight against Doomsday, he would eventually regenerate from his injuries. That's a big advantage for Godzilla. But what about their intelligence? After all, brains can often be the most powerful weapon of all. While both monsters are primarily driven by instinct, They aren't mindless. Godzilla can exhibit signs of self-awareness and consciousness. Depending on the continuity, Godzilla has even shown signs of sapience. In some incarnations, Godzilla exhibits emotions such as grief, anger, and love. Godzilla has also demonstrated a degree of wisdom and intelligence, capable of communicating with humans on rare occasions. Doomsday, on the other hand, isn't nearly as intelligent. While he has been shown to learn from his opponents, his intelligence isn't nearly high enough to allow him to formulate strategies or tactics in battle. Instead, he relies mainly on his incredible strength and durability to get him through fights. Godzilla definitely has the edge here. What about speed? Well, when you're talking about monsters who can destroy entire planets, it becomes difficult to quantify things like speed. Godzilla can move at supersonic speeds and Doomsday can keep up with Superman, who himself can move at the speed of light. So it seems that Doomsday has the clear advantage here. Doomsday is basically unstoppable. His main motivation is to destroy everything in sight, and he won't stop until every last thing is destroyed. Even if he is injured or tired, he will keep going until he is completely obliterated. Godzilla, on the other hand, doesn't actually want to kill anyone. He's generally a pretty peaceful guy, but he will defend himself if provoked. If Doomsday attacks Godzilla, then Godzilla will retaliate. And once Godzilla starts, he doesn't stop until the threat is finished. So let's see how this fight plays out. Doomsday lands on the Earth and begins destroying everything in sight. Cities crumble and the ground trembles beneath his feet. People flee in terror as Doomsday seems unstoppable. Suddenly, a giant roar echoes across the sky and Godzilla appears. Godzilla lets out a massive atomic breath attack, but Doomsday simply shrugs it off. Doomsday retaliates by smashing Godzilla into the ground. The impact sends shockwaves across the planet, but Godzilla quickly recovers and fires another atomic breath attack. Doomsday roars in anger and charges at Godzilla. The two monsters collide in a massive explosion and the fight is on. At first, it seems like Godzilla has the upper hand. His atomic breath attacks Doomsday again and again, but Doomsday keeps getting back up. Godzilla is starting to get frustrated, and he unleashes his full power. A massive beam of light shoots out of Godzilla's mouth and Doomsday is sent flying through the air. But before Godzilla can finish him off, Doomsday gets back up. Godzilla is shocked. He's never seen anything like this before. Doomsday may be strong, but he can't keep this up forever. Godzilla decides to play it safe and takes to the skies. Doomsday looks up and lets out a furious roar. He takes off after Godzilla, but the two soon find themselves in orbit around the Earth. In space, there are no rules. Anything goes. Godzilla is in his element and he unleashes everything he's got. Atomic breath. Attack after atomic breath attack. Doomsday is pushed further and further away from the Earth. Finally, Doomsday is knocked out of the sky and he crashes down onto a nearby planet. Godzilla follows him down and the fight continues. But it's clear that Doomsday is no match for Godzilla in space. Doomsday tries to make one final stand, but he's eventually knocked out cold. Godzilla has won. Who do you think would win in a fight between these two monsters? Let us know in the comments below. Now go watch Toho officially responds to Godzilla vs Kong or click this other video instead.